I'm Chef Leroy and welcome to my cozy kitchen. So today I want to talk about gadget cooking, as I do a lot of it. Okay, so today we're gadget cooking with our pressure cooker. Now, I have a Breville pressure cooker. Many people have Instapots now. I have not used an Instapot, but I'm assuming that everything on that pot works pretty much the same as this one. So what I'm doing today, I'm making birria beef tacos. So let's get after it. All right, guys, so on today's episode of Chef Leroy in the kitchen, we are making birria beef tacos and we're doing them in my pressure cooker. Okay, so what is birria? Birria is the newest sauce out there. It's been around many, probably hundreds of years. I don't even know, I didn't look that up, but this is a pre-made birria sauce. I did not make this. I got it as a sample. I brought it home and I vacuum packed it in my vacuum bags and I froze it. So I don't need all this sauce. It's quite a bit. I'm going to use about 1 cup. So what do we have today? We have some stew beef. We have our birria sauce and we are going to cook this in our pressure cooker. Okay, so make sure that you keep records of what you're doing. I like to write down how long it takes me to do something. Like I'm looking at the clock here on my home clock. It's 2:58 in the afternoon. So I'll write that down, like how long my actual whole meal took, okay? So we start at 2:58. So birria sauce, what is birria sauce? Birria sauce is a tomato sauce that's made with a chicken stock, at least this one is. It has oregano in it. I'm assuming it's probably Mexican oregano, onion, and different kinds of peppers. The predominant pepper in this is a guajillo pepper. Those are dried peppers. The other one is ancho pepper, okay? So that's what it looks like. It's really an interesting sauce. This is something I've never done before. I'm actually going to do I think I'll do another segment once and actually make my own birria sauce. I think I can do it. Anyway. So I've got my stew beef here. Now this is 1 1/4 pounds of stew meat, which I picked up from Costco. And there it is, okay? So we're gonna get these ingredients going in our pressure cooker, which I have right here. So let me show you what that looks like in the pot. So first thing we're gonna do is we're going to put 1 tablespoon of oil in here. I'm using extra virgin olive oil. Whatever you use, whatever oil you prefer. That's what I have right now. Okay. Go ahead and add your beef right to it. Now this pot can saute, and that's what you're gonna need if you're gonna do it this way. Otherwise you need to saute your meat in a different pan and then add it to your pressure cooker, okay? So mine can sear. So we have the 2 ingredients in there and we're going to plug it in and turn it on. And I will show you how to get it rolling. All right, we have our pot plugged in. So I'm going to set my pot on saute and I'm going to set it for 8 minutes and hit start. Give it a little mix. All right, can you hear that sizzle? We are starting to saute the beef. Now if 8 minutes is not enough to brown your beef, go ahead and add additional minutes to your time. But basically I'm just using this to brown it up. And then we'll add that birria sauce and cover it up and get it pressure cooked. All right, check that out. So we got a little less than a minute. Beef is looking nice and browned up. I'm gonna let it go ahead and go right through its full cycle. So that was 8 minutes. You're gonna leave all that wonderful juice in there too. That's gonna be part of your taco. So do not drain your beef. You want that flavor. There you go. All right, so the timer went off. Let's go ahead and add our birria sauce to it. It's gonna be pretty liquidy, but we're gonna cook that down with some vegetables. That's gonna be our final step for our tacos. All right, get your cover on. Make sure your valve is closed. Mine has a setting switch here for high, medium, low. I don't know how well it works, but I'm gonna go ahead and set it on high. We're going to set it to pressure cook, and I'm going to set it for 30 minutes. And start. And there you have it. All right, we're set for 30 minutes and it will come up to a pressure pretty fast because it's already hot inside. So that's the nice thing also about sauteing right in the pot. And again, I'm doing 2 recipes today with my pressure cooker. So we got kind of a bonus film here today because I'm going to do pinto beans in my pressure cooker as well. I got a little bit different idea how I want to do my pintos this time. So we're doing a double Gadget day. All right. Anyway, let's let that cook and I'll show you how I get everything else ready for the birria tacos. All right. So as I said, I'm doing birria beef tacos. Okay. Beef is cooking in the pressure cooker. All right. You see some peppers here on the board. These are poblanos. These have been roasted, which I did them on my cast iron grill, and then I peeled them. Okay. Here's a jalapeno that I've also done the same thing. So with my birria, I'm going to use this smaller pepper here. This one here I'm going to reserve for my beans, okay? So we're going to cut this in half. And we're going to pull a seed out of it, okay? All right, jalapeno. I'm going to use half of this jalapeno. The other half I'm going to use with my beans. And again, just pull your seed out of there. Make sure you wash your hands really well because the oil's on the seed. And the inside of the pepper are spicy, right? And your fingers will be full of that oil, and you touch your face or eyes or any other part of your skin, it's gonna be stinging. Alrighty, so I'm gonna use half of this jalapeno. I'll use this smaller side here. I'm going to just cut it up into small pieces. Now, do you have to peel your jalapeno? No. You don't have to roast it or peel it. But I like the flavor. And the poblano, I always peel them. And the reason why is because the skin is really stringy when you cook it. You have to cook it down quite a bit. It's just really interesting how stringy the skin is when you cook them. Okay, just dice that up like that. Now, I'm adding it to a vegetable that I have already cut, and I'll explain that in a minute here, because I did this yesterday. I was actually making a breakfast scramble, and I realized that I had just a little too much vegetables for that, so I reserved some for my tacos today. Now, you might think it's kind of strange to have mushrooms and zucchini, and there's a little bit of broccoli in here, but I think it makes some really good taco. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a nice chop and add it to this container of vegetables. Just like so. Now, the explanation for this other part, I've got 1 small zucchini, which I cubed. I'll show you that. Bite-sized cubes. I have a small sweet pepper in here. I did an orange pepper, which is right here. Okay. There's a half of a yellow onion diced, and I have a little bit of broccoli. I know I was using it for a scramble, but guess what? I'm going to put it in with my birria tacos, okay? The other thing I have is mushrooms, and I'm going to show you how I do my mushrooms. I have them on the stove right now, and that is 4 ounces of sliced mushrooms. So let me go show you what that looks like. All right, I have the mushrooms are on the stove, and I've learned a trick from a person on YouTube, go figure, right? We all can learn stuff. I started to not saute my mushrooms with oil. They work really well just to leave them straight up and saute them straight out in a pan. Get them in a nice hot pan. I'm going to turn this baby up on high. This is my induction stove. So it works out really like if you take oil and put it into the pan with the mushrooms suck it up just like a sponge anyway. So this trick is really, really cool. So no oil with your mushrooms. Just saute them straight up in a pan. And again, this is a nonstick. All right, well, let's let those cook. All right, look at those mushrooms cooking. Beautiful. Now I have my pan all the way up on high. That's looking amazing. All right, so next I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil, okay, just like so. And we're going to add our cut vegetables. We're going to give this a nice little saute till those onions get clear. Beautiful. Look at that. We're gonna add that beef to this with that sauce, and we're just going to let this cook. One other thing I gotta add is 1 tablespoon of garlic. All right, throw that garlic right in there. Nice little stir. Just gonna make some fantastic tacos. Now, do you need these vegetables in there? No. You can actually just do some pepper and onions with your beef. But we like to jazz things up at this house. Casa Leroy. There you go. How about Casa Leroy? I'm gonna cut that temperature down. We're gonna cut it down to about 1/4 and just let it cook and for a little bit. We'll wait till our beef is ready to roll and we'll throw everything together. All right, vegetables are looking really good. So what I'm going to do, because I've got a little over 20 minutes left on my beef, I'm gonna turn it off right now. Just let those veggies sit. Wait for the beef. So one other thing we're going to add toward the end is we're going to add some cilantro. So let me show you what I got going on with that. All right, I have 1 ounce of cilantro, okay? I'm going to use half of this for my birria beef. And the other half I'm going to use for my beans, okay? So I'm going to set that aside. Go ahead and chop this up. Got a little bit of heavier stem here, just take those out. Now what I'll do with the cilantro is I'm going to add it toward the complete end of my cooking for my beef. So I'm going to go ahead and put this chopped cilantro into a bowl and reserve it for my last step basically. So I want to add the cilantro right at the end before we basically eat. So I want that really good cilantro taste. And I don't want to cook it out. So there we go. All right, let's go ahead and put that aside until later. All right, we have less than a minute to go on our pressure cooker. So now, because I have additional liquid in the pot, you're going to have to be a little careful about opening your valve. Most cases, there you go, it's off, okay? So in most cases, your valve, which is, I don't know where the valve is on a Instapot, but this one's in the back on this side here from the dial. And you can release it manually. But generally speaking, for safety purposes, they would like you just to go ahead and let the pressure cooker release its pressure by itself as it cools down. But I'm an impatient cook sometimes, so, and I don't want to open the valve too fast because it will blow out not only just steam, but the liquid can come up out of it too. So I want to go nice and slow with the steam. Just slowly release it. All right, steam is pretty much released. Yeah, whenever I have a little extra liquid in my pressure cooker, I'm really careful opening up that valve too fast because that water that's in there can blow right out of there, and I've made a mess before, so I'm very careful about that, okay? There you go. All right, let's look inside there. Let's give it a little stir. Nice and liquidy. But that looks so good. Now we're gonna have a lot more vegetable than we have meat. That's fine. I think the tacos are gonna be fantastic no matter what. So now we wanna check a piece of the beef. And look at that. Falls apart right in my fingers. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and add it to my vegetables. All right, so we have our beef at our stove. Now my pot's still hot, so I'm gonna use a paper towel. I'm just gonna go ahead and dump that right in with that vegetable. Just like so. I'll tell you what, it smells so good. I've never done this meat before like this, so this is pretty new to me. Let's get this out of the way so you can see. There you go, look at that, huh? Whew, that looks fantastic. And now, I did not show you how, I cut the meat. I had some of my vegetables already pre-cut and everything else. But to be honest with you, this dish, if you have that sauce pre-made, will take you about an hour and 20 minutes, probably total. that looks lovely. All right, so I'm just gonna let this hang out. I'm not cooking this or getting it ready yet because we are not eating for a couple hours yet. So I'm just gonna let this hang out for a little bit. So next thing I'm going to do is show you my beans we're doing. We're gonna do mole pinto beans. So let me show you that Gadget cook. Okay everyone, so as I said, I'm doing a double Gadget cooking day. So you get a 2-for-1, all right? So we're gonna do some pinto beans next in our pressure cooker, okay? But I got a twist to it. I'm gonna do mole pinto beans. Now, I've never done this before. In fact, I have my mole paste right here in a 1/4 cup, and I'll make my sauce first. I'm gonna try to do the sauce and everything right with the beans in the pressure cooker. So let me show you my ingredients and we'll get after it. All right, ingredients for my pinto beans. So 1 pound bag of pinto beans. You want to make sure that you rinse them, okay? In this one here, I've already got cut onion and cut sweet red pepper. So the bell pepper was a medium to a small size red bell pepper, and the onion was a half of a yellow onion, about medium size, okay? That's those 2 items there. I've got a large poblano, which I roasted and peeled, and I've got my half jalapeno. That's what I use for my other dish, right? So this is what we do with our poblano. We cut it in half, okay? And we're gonna seed it. But before I show you that, the other ingredients I have some olive oil. We're gonna use 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I've got a 1/2 ounce of cilantro, which I'm gonna put in there. Now, this is the mole, okay? Which is almost empty because I've used quite a bit of this. This stuff is really good, okay? Mole rojo, there you go. Get this if you can. Got it at a Mexican market. I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup of mole paste, okay? I've got some chicken concentrate, which I'm going to use. Minced garlic, okay? So that is all of my ingredients. So let's go ahead and put it all together in our pressure cooker. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get these poblanos ready, okay? So we're gonna take the stem out of there, and go ahead and get the seeds out. Steps this time. So go ahead and cut up your peppers. Okay, just go ahead and throw it right in with your red pepper and your yellow onion. Now you don't have to use peppers at all. You can just use onion. I like peppers in my stuff, so. Do you have to use a red pepper? No, you can use green, yellow, orange. I just grabbed the one I had. I like those packs from Costco. They have 6 peppers in a pack, and there's usually 2 red, 2 green, 2 red, 2 yellow, and 2 orange. So, all right, throw that poblano in there. Now, generally speaking, you don't need poblano either, but I like the flavor of poblanos. And I'm kind of double using this stuff up for both dishes, which is pretty slick. So they won't taste exactly the same because there's 2 complete different sauces. But, so there you go. Throw that in. All right, next step. I'm gonna add oil to our pressure cooker. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Got my 1 tablespoon of olive oil here, which is about the end of my bottle, which is perfectly fine. Okay, slide that over so you can see a little bit better. Okay, go ahead and dump your veg right in your pot. Okay, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. You can use fresh clove. I would probably only use about 1 to 1.5 fresh, a large clove. Okay. There you go. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna go ahead and get this sauteing. While that's sauteing, I'm going to rinse off my beans. So let's plug this thing in and get it started. All right, go ahead and set your pressure cooker to saute. And again, if you don't have a saute method on your pressure cooker, just saute them in a pan and then put it in your pot. All right, so we got it on there. We're gonna set the time. I'm gonna set it for, the only problem with my pressure cooker is if I go past my time, I gotta start back over, so, which I just did. I'm gonna set this for 6 minutes, saute, and start. That's it. Take a spoon, Give it a little mix, spread that oil around your vegetables and your garlic. All right, while that's going, I'm going to rinse off my beans. All right, we got about a minute, less than a minute left. And it's looking great. All right, timer just went off. So we are going to add our water, beans, and mole and chicken's concentrate. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and throw your rinsed beans in there. Let's give them a little stir. Now I did a little bit of an adjustment here. Again, you got to kind of pay attention to your recipe. I decided I think the mole is going to be too much at a 1/4 cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add water. So I'm going to add 7 cups of water. Now generally I use 6, but because I'm adding mole to it, the mole will thicken this a little bit. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of the mole. Okay. I used warm water in here, so that mole is pretty thick. So let's pop that out of there. Okay, I use 1 more tablespoon. I just press it into the spoon like so. Okay, like that. Okay, go ahead and drop that in there. All right. Now, generally, you make your sauce, the mole part, and then you have it. But I'm going to cook it right in it. All right. Let's go ahead and use a 1/4 cup of the concentrate. I use tablespoons to measure. 4 tablespoons. All right. That's why you write everything down. So if you make some kind of a mistake or something's not right, you just readjust it. I always think about ratios when I'm doing things, so I'm just gonna be careful with that. All right, so the mole is not gonna just automatically mix into this because it's a paste. There it is right there, okay? It's pretty thick still. So what you can do is kind of break it up a bit, which I'll do a little bit with my fingers, just to make it smaller pieces. And it should cook in nicely. But we're gonna find out. I've never done it this way. Usually, like I say, I make my mole sauce first and then I mix it in with whatever I'm doing. Looking good, guys. All right, let's hit that timer. Let's rock it. All right, so let's go ahead and put the cover on. Make sure it's latched in. Make sure your release valve is closed. And again, I've got high, low, medium settings. I'm going to keep mine on high. I'm going to set this to pressure and turn the timer all the way to 60 minutes. Okay, there you go. Start pressure. All right, we'll show you what it looks like when it's done, guys. Woohoo! Can't wait. Mole pinto beans with birria beef tacos. I think we're gonna have a great meal. All right, beans are cooking, so I'm gonna chop up this cilantro. This is a 1/2 ounce of cilantro. I'm basically double utilizing cilantro, so I cut it the ounce into half and split it, right? So both items get some fresh cilantro in. And this cilantro I'll put in the beans when they're finished. All right, there you go. Just a little bit of a chop. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that right on top of the plate that I had. Use less dishes. There you go, beautiful, okay. So let's do just a slight recap on what I did here. All right, so mole pinto beans are working in the pressure cooker, 60 minutes. Actually, we use 1 Gadget to do 2 different meals out of 1 Gadget. So I like to use Gadgets. I think they're useful for those items. Pressure cookers really seal in those flavors. So I like to use my pressure cooker. So I hope you guys enjoy using yours and hope you try these recipes. Again, in the comments, if you want to add anything, if you want me to give you the information on how I did it again, or a little bit more on the increments. Otherwise, I kind of walked you through the steps as I did it. So anyway, I will show you what everything looks like when everything's finished. All right, so see you guys in a few. All right, my pressure cooker is down to 1 minute. That is 1 hour. Actually, it takes a little longer to get the pressure up, so it's more than an hour. But when you saute in it, that pressure gets up a lot quicker. So that's why I like to cook stuff in there first, so you get that pot nice and hot, so it doesn't take so long to bring that pressure up. All right, and it is official. Done. All right, let's go ahead and start releasing that steam. Okay, so again, recommendations for pressure cookers is generally let them cool down, let the steam, or I should say the pressure, dissipate on its own, but I'm an impatient chef, so I'm going to release the steam, but we're going to do it slow. See how those beans came out. It's a little watery at the moment. I did use 7 cups of water. Wow, they look really good. Let's check one of the beans. They are soft, sort of, although not quite, you know that? So you know what I'm going to do? Pressure cook them for another 15 minutes. So that was 60 minutes. So let all that pressure release. Lock your lid. Close your valve. All right, let's go ahead and set that to pressure, and we're going to go ahead and cook it for another 15 minutes. Probably 10 is fine, but I'm going to go 15. There you go. So the beans were almost okay. They were just a little bit on the firm side yet. So, all right. So 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now this won't take long at all for this to get back up to pressure because it's really hot. It took about 2 minutes just to let the steam pressure out of the pot. So, all right. We'll show you in a few minutes what it looks like. Okay, the timer is on 0. So let's go ahead and release that steam. I always say steam, but release the pressure. Okay, let's get that cover off. Give it a bit of a mix. Look at those beans. They look really, really good. It's a little watery though, but the beans are nice and soft. Perfect for what we want. Well, they taste really good. That mole really added some nice flavor to it. All right, we're just gonna let them chill out here. So the beans, what'll happen, they will thicken overnight in the refrigerator. So I think it's perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put my cilantro right in there, just like so. I'm just gonna serve these up in a bowl with our tacos. Look at that, that looks so good. Now let's go take a look at our stove and look at our beef that's cooking. Let me show you that. Look at that. Woo. That looks good. I had foil on top of my pan for a little bit. I was waiting for everything to get nice and hot, and I didn't want it to dry out, so I had aluminum foil sitting on top. But I don't want so much liquid, so we're gonna let that cook just a little bit more to cook down that liquid. But that looks super good. Let's go ahead and add that cilantro to this too. So, another layer of flavor. Beautiful. All right, so 2 for 1 today, video. 2 for 1. Birria beef and mole pinto beans. All right, so I've got my cast iron skillet working. I've got some blue tortillas. I dropped them right on there. Had my grill on for a little while now, and I've got my styrofoam tortilla holder, which when these are hot, we're gonna drop them right in there, okay? Beautiful, look at that. Nice. All right. Okay, so these 2 are done. So we're gonna go ahead and put them right here. So I brown them up just a little bit, see that? Now the purpose of cooking your tortillas is to keep them from breaking on you, because if you try to eat them like this straight up, they'll literally fall right apart as soon as you try to put anything on them. So we like to, gotta cook them up a little bit, okay? There we go. Okay, it is ready to dish up. So let's go ahead and get some of this birria beef out of here. Vegetables. Ooh, that looks so good. Build your own tacos. Okay, I'm using a bowl for our beans. Oh my gosh, so good. And look at all that goodness. That looks amazing. All right, Let's get that over the table and I'll show you what my table setup looks like. All right, so I've got my tortilla box right here. Got some queso fresco. We have an avocado salsa. I got it from the market. It's our guacamole that I had jarred a while back, 8 days ago actually. Beans, pinto beans with mole, and our beef with birria sauce. All right, we are about to dig in, and I'll do just a small recap at the end of all of this. But we're gonna eat up. Bon appetit, everybody. Okay, everyone, so a little recap on taco night. All right, so birria beef tacos, fantastic. Mole beans, unreal. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We call that 2-for-1 gadget cooking. All right, so we used the pressure cooker for both items. It just worked out so well. I will just give a little bit of information out there about the items that I use. So pinto beans, my queso fresco, the avocado salsa that I had, those all came from a Mexican market that's near where we live. If you guys want to save a bit of money, go to one of the Mexican markets. That queso fresco is probably $2 cheaper than a normal store. I'm not kidding you. So it's a really good deal. I think that you should take advantage of that. Don't be so intimidated because you're going into a Hispanic store. They have great products. People are really friendly. So do that, okay? Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had a great time watching this video. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing this for you guys out there. If you like my channel, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, ding, 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 and leave me some comments if you want to know any more about the recipes or other ways to do these things with tacos. But everything came out fantastic. It was a great dinner. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Chef Leroy, and out.